This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome in, everybody, to this week's edition of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Adam the Jock Straczynski. On today's show, a WWE superstar signs a multi-year extension, a big New Japan and AEW star sidelined with injury, and there's a lot going on with Ridge Holland. We're going to get to all of that, as well as we've got our Saturday night main event fallout. How does that impact Raw and SmackDown? AEW is building to another pay-per-view. We've got a lot going on there with their blood and gut. Help me break it all down, sort it all out, take a steel chair to the wrestling industry. He's the one. He's the only. He is the Doc, John Macaroon. What's up, cuz?
Cuz AEW has named me the Morning Bowel Movement Champion of the World. The DOC consistently every morning since 2005, baby. Throughout the course of this podcast, we will probably add 4 more AEW belts. That's probably the theme of the week was I couldn't believe I watched Dynamite and I saw the introduction of more belts. I was just, my jaw was hit the floor. I was like, I can't keep track of all the shuffling with Okada. I just can't. I can't keep track. There's way too many. We were joking back and forth all week that we added 3 championships throughout the week. Oh my goodness, cuz what is AEW doing? Like, they have enough. How can they keep doing more? They literally might be trying to give every single active main roster person a belt. It is crazy. And then WWE has been really weird with their storytelling, and it's interesting because you, Kenny, have some complaints. I'm okay with it, but I think the way we started is with Saturday night's main event, it was good, but I think the word that you would use is it's not compelling. There's something missing that is not allowing me, you, Kenny, to kind of feel drawn in. I don't know if it's all the being worn out of all the characters now multiple years telling stories, injuries derailing what a story really should be ideally. But it's interesting. It's just not compelling. It's good, but it doesn't feel like WWE standard. It doesn't feel like Final Boss, Cody Rhodes, finishing his story, John Cena turning heel. I think once John Cena turned heel and people were so excited for that one story to take shape, it kind of has derailed the rest of the company because we've already seen the Bloodline go through their things. We've already seen CM Punk kind of go through his thing. And I just think that Jey Uso and his in-ring work has kind of forced people to look at him in a little different way. So what happened at Saturday night's main event, it just felt like a show. It didn't feel compelling. I was shocked. I was excited to know. And everybody knew it's predictable. Everyone kind of knew that CM Punk was going to win. But not winning it against Seth just took all the air out of the balloon. It's like you beat Jey Uso. It's kind of like Adam beating me in a wrestling ring. Everybody knows it. They're like, okay. Yeah, Adam beat Doc. It's not really, we don't think that Doc's ever going to pin Adam Straczynski. So it was like, okay. And it didn't feel special. It was a culmination of his efforts, but it didn't feel special to me.
I felt like the show itself was incredibly predictable, right? Like, I think the biggest stunner was the Jade Cargill match and how quickly that played out. Not so much that she even won. I feel like it might have been a coin flip as to who was going to win, and really and truly, if we had to put a percentage on it, it was probably, I think people were leaning probably more 55, 60, 65% towards Jade winning it anyways, but it was the fashion in which she won because she utterly dominated Tiffany Stratton. But the show itself felt highly predictable. It didn't feel special. It felt, like you said, just like another show. And I think when you go to the main event and you've got CM Punk who's taking on Jey Uso, I feel like it would have been different if it was CM Punk, Braun Breaker. I feel like that would have felt more big time, would have felt different, would have felt like something. This kind of felt like, CM Punk's winning it. Jey Uso was obviously the safe choice, but it just, we've already seen this match. We've seen this match, I think, 2 or 3 times in the build to this specifically, and CM Punk has won every one of those. So it just did not feel like it was a show that you had to watch. And I think when you really break down where WWE is right now, it kind of feels like WWE is really resting on its laurels. It really feels like WWE is very predictable. It feels like WWE is the script writing alone has not been good for a couple of months now. And I think you're starting to get a little bit tired of it. I feel like as wrestling fans, you watch programming and you're like, okay, cool. I will sludge through this bad time or this time that is not very interesting because there's usually a payoff on the end. I feel like we're starting to get a little bit wore down by that. I feel like we're waiting for the payoff and we're not getting it. And then if you kind of back out a little bit and you look at the calendar, because wrestling is very calendar orientated, WrestleMania is a really long way away. And you're going to have these storylines where CM Punk will be defending his belt, but he'll be defending his belt because of what the pay-per-view is dictating he defends his belt for. He's not going to be defending it against a good storyline. He's not going to be defending it against a good build. He's going to be defending it against a storyline that is upcoming. And that really is just kind of a trope, and it just isn't interesting. And when you really start to kind of break things down, the thing that was going on with CM Punk and Jey Uso in this build at Saturday night's main event and kind of what Jey Uso was on the track for totally got derailed by what we got on Monday Night Raw. It totally devalued all of his heel work. He was doing this thing where he was this very gray character. He was doing a lot of things that were heel, but he was still a face. And it was this build towards him eventually what I thought was to turn heel. And then he goes to CM Punk on Monday Night Raw, and he's like, I'll help you. I got you, Oos. You're my man. This, that, the other thing. And he goes into this tag match with CM Punk, and he helps CM Punk out. That's not a heel thing to do. That's a very babyface thing to do. So all that work and all of that foundation and all that groundwork you've done and everything that you did on social media, because after he lost that championship chance on Saturday night's main event, he gave a middle finger and he said, you all celebrate now. And it was basically like, F you, because he lost. He was upset. All of that goes out the window. All of that you just undid with your programming. So it's very uneven. It's just not good storytelling. I have an issue with that. Like, you took us on this road and now you basically jumped off and you're like, cool, we're going to go back down the face road. Okay, cool. Then what the hell were we doing with the heel stuff? What were we doing with Roman Reigns? What were we building with Jimmy? What was all of that? All of that means nothing right now. And then you put a belt on Jade Cargill. Fine. And like I said in our group chat with Kenny, Jade Cargill looks like a 5-tool player. She looks absolutely incredible. But her in-ring work is not necessarily great unless it's a squash match. And her promos are still lacking. This has been the one thing that we've complained about with Jade since she was in AEW. And then WWE does the ballsiest thing, and they go and they grab what she did in AEW and they slap it. They basically Control-C, Control-V. They just copy and pasted it right onto WWE programming, and Jade Cargill is apparently still that bitch. Cool. We knew that when you were in AEW and you were botching and fumbling through promos, and we knew that when you were having awful matches in AEW. You then come over to WWE, they strap a rocket ship to your back, and it's basically AEW, just copy and paste. I have an issue with that. I've not seen any growth from Jade, and yet you're going to slap a title on her, and you completely eviscerated Tiffany Stratton, who was completely undefeated up until the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, where she lost to your other champion, Stephanie Vacour. That made sense. That was fine. You're trying to build Stephanie. To then have her a couple weeks later just get absolutely annihilated for her second loss of the year. This is something that you, as WWE, were promoting. I didn't even know this was going on until you heavily promoted it. Her second loss of the year, she then loses her title, and she loses her title in 5 minutes. It's the shortest match on the card. It's the women's match. To me, you completely assassinated Tiffany Stratton. And I'm not okay with that. Like, those are issues, because I don't feel like Jade's going to be your champion that's going to be able to hold that belt and really help elevate it. Did you have any issues with kind of the fallout and really what took place at Saturday night's main event? Because to me, I felt like Tiffany Stratton is now dead in a corner, and now we've got to hide a body because she's been shot in the head. So Jade Cargill could have a belt. And Jade Cargill's new character is basically the same thing that we got when we were at AEW, and we complained about that when she was at AEW. To then Jey Uso building this heel transformation, but now leaving it on the side of the road with a bullet in its head, and now that's dead. And that's another body that we've got to hide. So he can go on and do stuff with CM Punk. We haven't even got to CM Punk and what took place on
Monday night.
Monday night. Like
Right.
there's still more to unpack there. But just coming out of what took place on Saturday, I'm just scratching my head like, dude, we don't have enough closet space to hide all these bodies, John.
Right.
I don't know where we're gonna put them.
Right, you're absolutely right. Which in the end, first and foremost, it was funny because a lot of people with Jey Uso were saying, did he look altered in the ring because he overdid a spot? He over-rotated when he took an RKO. It was kind of funny.
A couple of times.
Yeah, it looked weird, but I feel like with Jade Cargill, if you just really would have sat back and took an extra 30 minutes in the meeting, you would have said, you know what? We have a Survivor Series right around the corner. It would be really cool if she won it at a big pay-per-view. Like, to have it at Saturday night's main event, you could have had Tiffany win. That would have been nice. You could have had Tiffany elevate herself. And also, too, title changes should be semi-good matches, not squash matches. That's kind of weird that they didn't give the opportunity for Tiff to have any offense. Like, I think that, yeah, in 2025, I get it. The squash match makes, Jade look really, really strong, but not at the expense of a former champion. Like, there's still value in the juice that, you know what, the next match could have been Tiffany. Like, now, do you believe that Tiffany, in any chance, could really look in the ring across from Jade? You made her look weak. And there has to be you have to maintain the credibility of the former champion. Yeah, you could have had her lose, but you needed to have a classic match back and forth. Some false, like, can I get a false finish? Like, what the producer of that match was probably like, what's best for her character is that Jade should just be standing way taller over Tiff. And they're like, okay. It's like, no, we need to kind of have a debate a little bit. Like, does anybody else tell the producer? There should be really two producers for every match where you sit in and you go, wait a minute, let's go back and forth here. Okay, I get it. You want to squash her. It's going to make her look big and establish her as a big bad star. But look at her. We got to establish her as a wrestler. Like, nobody believes she's good. Like, she's a body. Like, we don't want, the perception of our champions to be viewed as something other than awesome. And the best way, I don't think, is to squash people. And I think WWE thinks that way. I think the best way is to have a match. That's what professional wrestling is that you tell a story in the ring. And you tell the story in the ring, which is, hey, Tiff is a badass, and she held on to that title ferociously, and Jade had to fight and use all her skills, use some advanced thinking to get her way. But in the end, they didn't go that route. It just didn't make it. It didn't make it look that great. And yeah, to go back to an AEW bit is crazy. But in the end, on SmackDown, she looked awesome. That all black look on her looks awesome. She looks the part. She looks the part of a champion. The part of the problem is that it's a facade, in that there's, like I said, we've always said here on the podcast, you got to have all the tools. You got to have it. You got to be able to wrestle. You got to be able to speak. And she botched a couple promos leading up to the title, and we'd always joke around.
Think about this. What does this tell you about what WWE thinks about her?
Right.
And her first title defense will be on SmackDown next week, and it's against B-Fab. Like, what does that tell you?
Right.
Like, that is a match that I never, ever want to see. I would much rather watch a three-legged cat on a frozen pond trying to bury a turd than watch that match.
Yeah, right.
Like, what? Like, B-Fab has come a long way, and she's put in some work, but she's still not very good in the ring.
Right. This could be a train wreck.
It's like two people without opposable thumbs trying to screw something in. Good luck. Good luck.
I think we just have to hope here from the podcast that those two leave the ring healthy. Sheesh. Yeah,
it is. Like, I'm going to tell you exactly how that match is going to go. Right? Like, we'll come back and we'll view this next week. I'm going to tell you exactly how this match is going to go. This match will be maybe 5 minutes, 7 at the most. We'll probably end up somewhere right around 3. B-Fab's just going to get annihilated.
Right.
She's going to go in there. She's just going to be a body to feed to Jade. That is all it's going to be.
Right.
Jade's going to hit her with her finisher, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, the hair whipped to the back, and she's going to stand up tall, and she's going to be like, and she's going to yell out to the crowd, I'm that bitch. That'll be it. somebody else's musical hit. It'll probably be Meechin's music. And then all of a sudden, that's going to be the next program that we go into. It's just going to be a line of feeding her bodies. I feel like we are set for a very Goldberg-esque run for Jade Cargill. You have short matches, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
Right.
And it's just going to be feeding her bodies.
Right.
And it's just hopefully she figures stuff out in the ring. But I have little to no faith on any of that.
What's crazy is everybody backstage is going to clap and go, "We like this," and meanwhile, all the fans are going to be like, Triple H is like, "This is good. We can lean into this." I think Jade should lean into it a little bit if you just want to. If you want to bring some reality to it, she could just say into the microphone, "You all think I can't wrestle? I don't need to wrestle 20 minutes with these girls. They ain't at my level. I can take them down in 3 minutes." And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through this division and make everybody know that there's one head of the class bitch in the whole company. And I don't care what you guys think. You got to lean into it.
Cargill needs to have the speed challenge. Remember Speed on TikTok or X?
Right, exactly.
She needs to have the speed challenge. She's like, I'm beating everybody in 5 minutes or less.
Exactly. And then you have somebody yelling at her if she doesn't. Like she goes a match like 6 minutes and she gets yelled at, like a tough coach. That'd be kind of funny, But lean into it a little bit. You have to lean into it because it's true. It's true. Everybody knows it. That's the one thing she's battling is that in 2 years, nobody believes she can wrestle. But she should just say, I don't need to. Like, why would I be out here trying to spend my time with these girls? They're not strong enough. They're not fast enough. They're not even in my league to be even in this ring. I don't know why I step foot in here and just act like you're like really kind of lean into it so that people boo you. Like gain some heat with it, some nuclear heat, and then you could do something with it, which is I don't need to be a Charlotte Flair in this company. I just need to stand here, show up, and the storm is coming to upset the apple cart. You could kind of lean into I don't need to wrestle. I don't need to talk to you morons. Like, you guys sit here and want to analyze what I say to you. Shut up. You guys are all incompetent anyway. I don't think that you guys can even understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. You're not on the Mamba level. You're not on my level. So shut up and be quiet and watch and sit back and watch something you've never seen before. Kiss my ass. And something like that. And it'll kind of take the focus away from the fact that people are talking about it and lean into it a little bit. But yeah, you're right. They did tease the Charlotte thing, which is going to be fine. But in the end, we just think that the title reigns for the women could be so much better and more compelling if you maneuver it in a way that's a little bit different and keep Jade, at least for the foreseeable future. Let's hope that she doesn't have any bad botches in the ring.
And let's just kind of continue along with what happened with Saturday night's main event, and kind of how that transitioned onto Monday Night Raw. We talked a little bit about CM Punk and what took place with him and Jey Uso. CM Punk's in the ring. He's basically cutting a promo about all the people he wants to defend his belt against. Next thing you know, you've got Paul Heyman and the Bronze come down, and it looks like those guys are going to challenge. Logan Paul ends up coming out, and Logan Paul is now going to be the first challenger for CM Punk's belt. This kind of spirals a little bit out of control as CM Punk and like I had mentioned earlier, Jey Uso team up against the Bronze. Logan Paul comes down to try to make the save, ends up turning on CM Punk. Logan Paul appears to now be part of the Vision. I know that we are building to a possible War Games match, and that's kind of what this looks like it's going to be. It does look like CM Punk and Jey Uso are going to at least be on one side of it. I'm assuming Jimmy's going to be on that same side. I'm assuming they're going to get Roman involved as well at some point. Right now, we've got the Vision, or what was the Vision, with the Bronze, and now Logan Paul on that side. Logan Paul appears to be the first challenger for CM Punk's belt, like we've said. Do you want to see Logan Paul in a possible War Games match with the Vision, or be part of the Vision?
See, it's interesting because Logan Paul is the right figure, but I just think that the wrestler that most people would have felt would have been bigger and maybe fit into that kind of group, like Logan Paul is not really a full-timer. Like, he's in there, but he's like 90% in. I feel like I really do believe most people believed and really wanted Austin Theory to be that guy, to be the guy that kind of is that next level star that's kind of not been utilized, that's a consistent person. But they went Logan Paul. I get it. I understand the reasoning why. Paul Heyman would be like, this dude's got all the star, and Paul is somebody that gloms on to, he's a guy that utilizes his opportunity to be with the biggest and the best. I get it, but I feel like Austin Theory would have benefited more. I like the way they weaved it. The one complaint I had was the segment went on and on and on and on, and you hear that it was like maybe 10 minutes over what the allotted time was supposed to be. It was way too long to go 20 minutes and then with the way I looked at it was I didn't like the way CM Punk was enticing the Vision to come in. It didn't look as strong as I think it should have. I just feel like you could have just had CM Punk do his thing, tease that part where the Vision comes out next week. This should have just been a simple celebration, tight, nice and right, and just CM Punk should have ended where he said, I know I got a target on my back. This is going to be the greatest challenge of my life. I love this belt. Thank you, people, and keep it moving. And I just think
then Logan Paul comes out and hits him from behind.
Yeah, something small.
And that's it. That's it. Segment. That's it.
Sometimes less is more, and I feel like they got all of it in there. And then you had to get Braun with Logan. I know you wanted to tease it all throughout the night, and it made sense. But yeah, I feel like you could have just delayed it 1 week, and it would have had more. This was just CM Punk did his thing, a little celebration. This is what it means to me. This is what my title reign is going to be, and that's it. To add 3 and 4 more layers was just overkill, and then it just kept going on and on and on and on and on. And I felt like it did impact the rest of Monday Night Raw.
I agree with you 100%. In Monday Night Raw was, if you watched it on Netflix, it was about 10 minutes longer than it normally was. So it was a thing. That opening segment really derailed a lot of different stuff. The other thing kind of coming out of Saturday night's main event that plays a part a little bit on Monday Night Raw and a little bit on SmackDown is the John Cena The Last Time Is Now tournament. This is something that we talked about a little bit probably 2-3 weeks ago. Dave Meltzer had announced that this was probably the direction they were going to go in. It is now obviously confirmed this is what they're going to do with. I want to get your thoughts. I feel like Joe Hendry needs to be part of this tournament.
Yes.
And if he is part of this tournament, I really do feel like he should win it. Current brackets are looking like this, right? They're going to make announcements as each week as this kind of goes along. It's going to be Rusev versus Priest, Nakamura versus Sheamus, The Miz versus Jey Uso, LA Knight versus somebody else. I want to get your thoughts on who that mystery challenger could be, but I also want to get your thoughts on, I feel like Joe Hendry needs to be part of this. He needs to be a foundational member of it, and I feel like
he should be the guy. He should be the guy.
Win it.
He should be the guy. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because he called out John Cena. It's the best way to introduce a star. It literally is perfect because John Cena is a mega star, and he could he could really push somebody forward with a win. He, in the end, or if Joe Hendry loses, that's fine as long as it's a compelling match. People love it. But also, too, I had a different thought. And you say John Cena's last match. It should be big. Look, most people would love it.
Huge.
It should be huge. And most people would think it should be against The Rock. But The Rock's probably going to be in nowhere near the shape needed to have this match. It doesn't make sense. So the next guy that should be in it, really, the biggest star that you just say, even though he's a part-timer, even though this is a guy that's not the big dog anymore, it should be Roman Reigns. Like, I think that Roman Reigns is a guy that you say, Roman Reigns, John Cena, it's the past and the guy that took the company to the next present level. Yeah. And in the end, Roman Reigns beats John Cena, puts him down 1, 2, 3, and you could also bring in and finally tie. You have to. I mean, you literally almost have to tie in the final boss. The final boss, even if he is just there, like fly in, figure it out, fly in for 5 minutes. Fly in, Roman wins it. Everybody's celebrating. What does this mean? Is Roman back in the big yard, big dog? Final boss comes out, or final boss helps, to cost John Cena the match. And it's just you F me and a little speech to just tie into the big gaping hole that you created without WrestleMania. And you say, you think I'm going to show up for you? You're the worst decision. Something to say that I'm pissed off at you, John Cena. You turn your back on something that could have been great and put it back on John Cena. Because John Cena's leaving. Rock say, you got the people hating me. He's like, you turned the vision of what I wanted into something that was crazy. And something to just tie it into it. But if it's not going to be Roman Reigns, then absolutely Joe Hendry. Maybe even getting the W would be something that would be realistic and fun. And it was true because it's long-term storytelling, because Joe Hendry was smart and was like, I manifested it. So it might be Joe Hendry, dude. I think it might be.
He might be the mystery combatant. I
hope so.
I kind of thought that too when you had what's his nuts on SmackDown. Damn it, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. The general manager,
Nick Aldis, baby.
Yeah, Nick Aldis. That's it. Thank you. It's slipping my mind for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, when Nick Aldis was like, I'll just keep this to myself. If you think about it, you speak his name, he appears.
Yes.
So he's going to keep it to himself because he's not going to speak his name.
All right.
Like it makes sense, man.
It's perfect sense.
A lot of sense. In LA Knight versus Joe Hendry. Oh my God. It's like two Adonises in the ring, and it would just be absolutely fantastic. Like,
it might happen.
I feel like he should win, and I feel like it would be great. I do like your idea of Roman Reigns. I think that would be very, very good because, like you said, you had the one guy who picked the ball up and helped carry the company to the next level. Then you had Roman Reigns, and history is going to be rewritten for Roman Reigns. It really is because of where he's at now. Roman Reigns was force-fed down everybody's throat. Everybody turned their back on him. Everybody hated him. And then all of a sudden, things evolved, and he has been the guy who has really helped take wrestling to that next level. And he's very much crossover.
And it's big. It's big. It's huge.
It is big. That is a big match. It has a big-time feel on it. I don't know if you want to talk about Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. I feel like it's interesting. I feel like it's the one thing we could probably cut from the show as we're kind of like moving along this kind of on the fly.
It's intriguing. It's intriguing to see how it's going to play out.
Yeah, we'll see what takes place. Rey Mysterio is back. He's been out for about 8 months. He jumps right into a feud with Dominic Mysterio.
Good.
We'll see what happens there. I'm curious to see. I have a few more thoughts on Chelsea Green. I was surprised that she ended up winning the Women's U.S. Championship. Like, that shocked me. I was honestly, I had Friday Night SmackDown on, and I was actually in the middle of cleaning my golf clubs while it was on, and I had to stop what I was doing, go back, rewind my television, and then watch the end of that match, and I was like, whoa. Her and Ethan Page are the AAA intergender tag team champions right now. She's doing this very big Canadian gimmick, even though she was at one time the doing the whole U.S. bit. So I find it intriguing, but I find it fascinating that she won this belt, and to me it felt like another quick women's match. I was shocked by all of this, especially since you have Kiana James and man, my brain is just not good today. You had the former U.S. champ. I can't remember her name off the top of my head at this moment in time.
My note was my note for the match was poor Julia.
Yeah, Julia, that's it. Thank you. My brain, dude, I'm telling you, like early mornings, it does not want to fire right. But you had Kiana James and you have Julia, and like I feel like that was tracking in the right direction. Then all of a sudden it kind of sputtered, and they never really picked up the momentum that they once had. And I feel like Julia's got a great look. Julia's fantastic in the ring. Kiana James is fantastic to look at, and she cuts great promos. But I was surprised that Chelsea Green won this match. I was shocked. I'm shocked that she's your new U.S. Women's Champ. What are your thoughts on her getting the dub ski and getting the belt back?
No doubt about it. But let me tell you something, brother. You're on a podcast with the DOC. We're going to start calling you Adam J. Uso Strozinski. Step it up, baby. Yeah.
My promos are bad.
This is prime time, baby. Don't act like Jey Uso. You're in the ring with the DOC. Step it up, baby. Write your notes down better and step it up, baby. I feel you, bro. I looked at it and I was like, Jesus. Again, it ties into our thoughts with Tiffany. It's like Julia could have lost the match, but you could at least had her like look like anything. But okay, Chelsea Green is important. I think she's the right time champion. She's fine. It's just also too the theme of the show is that champions can lose, but WWE's like we're just not only going to take the belt off you, we're going to make you look terrible. So they're keeping it moving. Chelsea Green is crazy good. And she's worthy of a champion.
So charismatic.
She's charismatic.
She's so charismatic. And she's great.
Yeah, and she's got to keep the thing going, keep it for a while, and let's keep it moving. Hopefully, she gets it for more than the 150 days that WWE likes to keep their championships. It is true that it's a frenetic pace. They're not letting too many people have the championship for too long.
Did you see the thing online from Matt Cardona?
Yeah.
So she was on NXT with Ethan Page, and Thea Hale jumped out of a cake and attacked them. They're covered in cake, and there was this thing about her not being creamed this much.
All right.
And Matt Cardona, dude, never misses a beat. And if you don't know, Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green are husband and wife, so they're absolutely fantastic. Matt Cardona is amazing, absolutely great. But before we transition to AEW, Drew McIntyre attacks a referee in Cody Rhodes' match. He ends up getting suspended. Let me
ask you this.
Okay.
If
Drew McIntyre looks fantastic, by the way.
he does.
Like the one thing I said when he was on screen, I was like, oh my God, this guy's jacked and looks unreal right now.
Do you let Drew finish his story on Cody? Do you think that that's something that would elevate him? It's like you want to perceive it. You can envision it. But something, because of the way he's been booked, it's not believable. Like, you've had him take all these L's and all these feuds, and he's been around and he's been a world champion, but I think you could elevate Drew McIntyre by having him beat Cody Rhodes. It would be something, but they got to do a little bit more. He's done a lot of character work, which has been great. He uses social media perfectly, but I'm going to need him to stop being the disruptor and start going into the ring and destroy people. Like, it's crazy because it's a weird way to build somebody where he's always disrupting things. He's always having these feuds, and then he ends up losing them. Like, he did that to CM Punk, he did that to Seth, he did that to all these other people, but he's not winning the feuds. So eventually, he's got to be a disruptor, but I don't think it would hurt Cody if he drops the title to Drew. It would be something where, hey, could you allow the man to win in front of fans and let him have a moment, because he won the belt, right? And then didn't he have he had an opportunity, and then it didn't go right in the COVID era.
COVID when he won the belt.
Yeah.
So he was the champion during COVID when there were no fans, and then he won. What happened? He won the belt.
Then
who cashed in? Somebody cashed in
right,
on him.
Somebody cashed in on him. So he hasn't had moments where you could say he's the champ. So it's interesting. I do think that he's an interesting character.
CM Punk. I don't know. He's had a very short title run,
right,
with people.
Right. So you think that he could do so much more with his belt and an opportunity, but I don't know if he's been built the right way. He's a disruptor, but he's not a winning professional wrestler.
He is WWE's like top heel.
Yes.
But the guy never wins. Like,
right.
You knew going into that match, like, he wasn't winning. You knew the last 2 times he's faced Cody Rhodes, he wasn't winning. I feel like if he gets into another feud with Cody Rhodes, he isn't winning. I don't know what you do with him at this point, because he's got value. So I don't want to say you devalued him, but he's not believable in these championship matches. And maybe that's the setup, right? Maybe that's where we get to the point where he gets in a championship match where it's like, yeah, he's going to end up losing again. And maybe that's where he gets the win, and you're like, holy crap, they actually put the belt on him. So maybe that is the build, but you're right. He's had the same exact copy and paste feud with CM Punk that he's having with Cody Rhodes. It was essentially the same exact thing that he had going on with the Bloodline, which was before CM Punk. It's been the same exact thing time and time again. I don't know what you do with him. He is now suspended. I don't know if this is for a personal reason, like he needs some time off. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know. But I was surprised that they announced that he was suspended on Friday night. And I don't know where we go with Drew McIntyre as a whole.
Yeah, see,
because like you said, he just keeps getting put in the same. It's just, like I said, it's copy and paste from the last couple matches.
Yeah, Drew did. At WrestleMania XL, he defeated Seth Rollins to get cashed in on by Damian Priest.
Okay, that was who it was, Damian Priest. And then like he had a thing with Damian Priest. It was the same shit.
Right.
You kept challenging to get your belt back, and you never got it back.
So it sucks. And I just think they got to do a better job. And I think he could do something with it if he gets his opportunity as a heel. So we'll see the disruptor, and we'll see how Nick Aldis continues to handle the guy that continues to disrupt. I love how Cody Rhodes, we're going to move on. Everybody's like, yeah, no, you're not.
All right, let's move on to AEW. Speaking of moving on, AEW introduced another belt.
Oh my God.
The national championship belts. So it's not the actual NWA national championship belt. That is actually being utilized. But this belt is in homage to that. This championship merged with the United States Championship back in 1986, which is in WWE. That the U.S. Championship belt that is in WWE was merged with this national championship belt. But at some point, the NWA said, nope, we're going to take our belt back. And this belt is not part of the NWA. So it gets really messy when I'm explaining this out loud. But I think that the big question coming out of this is, in AEW, do we need another belt? It to me feels like if you're a wrestler in AEW, there is a belt made specifically for you. It feels like this belt is being made specifically for Bobby Lashley because Bobby Lashley will not be challenging anytime soon for the AEW Heavyweight Championship. He will not be challenging for the TNT Championship. He will not be challenging for any tag team belts. He will not be challenging for an ROH Championship. He will not be challenging for anything besides apparently this belt right now. It really feels like Tony Khan is the belt collector, or Tony Khan, if you're a Marvel fan, is Thanos, and belts are his jewels for his gauntlet. Bro, another belt? What?
Yeah, because we were joking.
There's no point you devalue the value of the belts that you have.
I can't.
They're just props now.
I can't keep track of the names of all these belts. There's no meaning behind it. We joked around about how many belts that we won this week. You know, the podcast championship belts, the two cousins for the Michigan Cousins Award is now awarded to us. We've got 4 belts now throughout the course of the 60 minutes. And it's just crazy, which is quite literally what's happening, because I got a couple wrestling belts here in this office, and it doesn't make any sense, because Tony Khan, we get it, he's a mark. But in the end, you literally are going to have a show with so many belts that I can't keep track of the lineage of all these belts and who's won it. And Okada won this championship and this tournament and this ring. And it's just way too much. I'm not keeping track. The lineage is too confusing across multiple. When he introduced it, all I did was start texting you, just start telling jokes. Like, another belt? Like, stop. Literally, the fans are telling you, if you tell people, and you openly tell people in your 11-minute videos that you're doing every week to hype up your show, which is a little bit weird, but I kind of like it. Hey, I'm going to put over this guy. Literally everything's going to be, I'm going to put over this champion. So I think he's literally trying to have a whole month where every person that steps in the ring for a whole month is going to have a title. And it's just, it's too crazy. It's too much to think about. It's just it's unacceptable. I just think that hopefully when somebody comes in and he's like, I'm too tired to run Fulham, to run the Jaguars, to do my data company, to run AEW, that he just gives it to a booker, and the booker's just going to be like, these belts are just going to go away. No one will miss them. No one will even ask. It's just kind of like, let's just bury these belts and have a bit where, you know, someone comes in and just burns all these belts and saying, this is professional wrestling. This is not a toy collection company where we just collect belts. Belts mean something. And that could be the first segment of the new booker. Belts mean something here in the company, and we just need a couple. I mean, here's the dumbest part. Here's the dumbest part about all of this. You've added all these belts, right? And the one belt that everybody would have a lineage to, which everybody loves from the guy from WCW, why don't you bring back the World Television title? The World Television Championship that everybody ties to WCW. It's the biggest lineage. I don't know if you're not allowed to call it that, but my God, you could just say, Tony Khan could be like, you know what? I found the light. I'm disregarding 9 belts, and we're bringing back, and we're going to have a tournament for the first World Television Champion. And everybody would love it because everybody's been clamoring for that belt. That's been the only belt that hasn't come back across 3 companies, you know, other than I think ROH has it or whatever it is. But in the end, my God, Tony, Jesus Christ, man, it's just a big joke, and it's not right. You don't want parts of your company associated with a big joke.
Yeah, and that's what this feels like too. And we're not the only ones saying this, right? Like, you go around, you listen to other people who comment on wrestling. Everybody has the same feeling. You don't need another belt. You have too many belts. You had so many belts at one point. You merged 2 of your made-up belts to make one. Okada has it now. On top of that, you do stuff with New Japan, and thankfully New Japan sees enough in your wrestlers where they're giving them big-time belts, like Takeshita, who is the New Japan World Heavyweight Champion, which is probably one of the biggest, most important belts in all of wrestling because of the lineage and the history it has, not this made up stuff that you have for a belt that is still actively being used by the NWA and was at one point merged with a belt that is still being used by WWE. So you just parachute in and you're like, we're just taking a belt from a long time ago that has no history or nor tie into anything, and we're just going to call it that. Like, just the thought process is absolutely bonkers to me. It's absolutely bonkers. Like, the audacity to take a belt and name it after a belt that is still being used by its parent company, the NWA, but was also a belt that was merged into another belt that is being used by your rival company, to then come in and say, we're going to name it this, even though it's that, but it has zero tie into either one of these. Like, let that sink in, people. Tony Khan is legitimately a madman. He is crazy. Like, he is. We make jokes all the time about him being on the spectrum because he's something. I don't know what it is. He's something, but he is on the spectrum. And this is coming from a guy who I believe is partially on the spectrum himself. I have lots and lots of weird little quirks. I'm a strange dude. Tony Khan is heavily on the spectrum, and this specific instance, I think, tells you everything you need to know. It's bonkers to me. I wanted to get your thoughts. The running theme through Dynamite and the running theme that will be through Collision is multi-qualifying matches for a Blood and Guts advantage, which is the pay-per-view coming up on November 22nd. It was a major theme this week. Normally when we have Blood and Guts or when we have like a War Games, you have one match for the advantage. In this case, you've got multiple matches. You've got 2 guaranteed matches with a possible third for a tiebreaker. I think it's a little bit weird. I thought it was a little bit strange. Stranger than all of that, I thought, was who won these matches and how they set up who won these matches. We'll get into that in a second, but I want to get your thoughts on having multiple qualifying matches for a Blood and Guts advantage. I hope we don't ever see WWE do this. I didn't like this. To me, it doesn't make sense. You have one match does it all. And in that match, generally your heels win and they get the advantage. That's how it should go. That's best storytelling for these matches. You don't need your faces having the advantage. Your faces need to be getting beat up in the ring. So when the timer strikes, you can have that guy running down to the ring and getting in to help even things out. The heels always need the advantage in this specific type of match. What were your thoughts on the multiple qualifying matches for both the men and the women?
I'm very interested, actually, to be honest. I think that, the men and women are going to do some wild stuff. It was crazy, too, if you saw, I don't know, Chris Jericho had some comments about how much the Detroit Blood and Guts match, and I tie into that. We went to that. It was crazy. It was fun. And Chris Jericho said that he really had a moment when he was on top of the cage with Castagnoli, and he was seeing all the fans and looking at the doc and looking at the AEW.
He was looking right at you.
Yeah, he was looking at the AEW Detroit Fan Champions, which are me and you. So he was looking at, the fans just going, man, look where we've come from COVID. And it's just a wild and crazy match. Listen, I didn't care too much about all the craziness. It's hard to follow all the reasoning and to get into it. Like I've said from several podcasts ago, with AEW, I'm just now evaluating them where they're at. Are the matches good? Do the stories make sense? Not really. Do they make a lot in a way that's even? They've just decided we don't want to be compelling. We just want to tell, here, this is what we're doing. Here's the match we're going to produce. So I want to see the matches, and I think it's going to be crazy. But I always find myself going, man, I always put myself, and it's crazy, but that's just the way it is that when I see how these Blood and Guts are shaping up, I always tell myself, I really hope if I was a wrestler, I would be like, listen, Tony, I don't want to do this. Like, I feel like some of these guys are going to get hurt. Some of these guys are going to end up in a spot where it's going to be very dangerous. They're trying to outdo things. It's just crazy. I just hope everybody involved in these matches goes into it because it's called Blood and Guts. It's crazy. And then just on a quick side note, it just hit me now. I did have a dream last night. I had a dream that Darby Allin joined WWE for some reason. Like he was coming down the ring and the Saturday night's main event thing, and I was like, it didn't hit me like, wait a minute, he's from AEW. But I think in my conscious brain, in the dream, it was like, oh yeah, he wants to be a star. He comes down with he's with like a couple other wrestlers and things like that. So listen, how much we love wrestling. I'm dreaming about it before we start Doc and Jock. So I just won the best AEW dream championship, baby. Now the 6-time AEW champion. So listen, blood and guts. I hope everybody survives. It's always a unique match. We've seen it live. It's crazy. One of the guys, Santana and Ortiz, Ortiz ended his run in AEW off that match. He was gone. We were looking like, what happened to Ortiz? He's just laying there, and nothing's happening. And it's just a crazy match. I just hope that nobody involved gets hurt. Now, set the scene. Who's going to be involved in this craziness?
So for the men's, I think the really interesting thing is the women have 6 combatants, which I think is fantastic and really, really smart to do. For the men, it's going to be a 5-on-5. It'll be Darby Allin. It'll be Orange Cassidy. It's going to be Kyle O'Reilly, Roddick Strong, and last guy. I don't think it's Eddie Kingston. I'm drawing a blank on who the last guy who will be for the faces. For the heels, it's essentially going to be the Death Riders. It'll be Pac, Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, John Moxley. And then for the ladies, it's going to be, for the faces, it'll be Chris Statlander, Harley Cameron, Willow Nightingale. You'll have Mina Shirakawa, Tony Storm, and darn, there's one more face. I can't remember. See if it comes to me in a minute. For the ladies, you'll have the Sisters of Sin, which is Thekla, Sky Blue, and the chick who wears the hat. Damn. And then you'll have, and you're doing a good job testing me here. Who else is involved in this match? So,
it's crazy.
You'll have Mina Shirakawa and you'll have Megan Bain, and then you'll have, or not Mina Shirakawa, you'll have Mina Shafir, you'll have Megan Bain, and Mercedes Moné. Did I say Chris Statlander for the faces? Chris Statlander is the other person. I don't know if I said her name or not. She's the other person for the faces. So my big issue is in this, and it was really for the men. So you had Orange Cassidy, Claudio as your opening match, and Claudio ends up winning. And I was like, okay, fine. You kind of know what's going to then happen in the second match, which is going to be Darby Allin and Daniel Garcia. You know Darby Allin's going to end up getting the win there to even the score. I feel like you should have flip-flopped that.
Maybe, yeah.
And the reason for that is you give Orange Cassidy the win over Claudio. I think we all expect Claudio to probably win that match just based on power. But I think that's what makes it more interesting is you have Orange Cassidy win this match and he has enough juice in him to beat Claudio and outlast his power, because that's the one thing that Orange Cassidy is known for, right? It's being able to go that extra mile, being able to absorb that extra contact, being able to reach deep down and be that underdog. And I think when you get to the Darby Allin match, you have Daniel Garcia win because it helps elevate Daniel Garcia. Darby Allin is already considered one of the best wrestlers in AEW. You have Darby Allin win that match, and then that helps, or you have Daniel Garcia win that match because it helps put him over the top. Like, you just got a massive win over a guy who is considered a top 5, top 10 wrestler in AEW. He's definitely a top 5 face in that company. He's a guy who is looked upon as being the future. Daniel Garcia is a guy who should be considered part of the future of that company. And to me, it felt like if he would have got the win, it would have set things up much better. And I don't care if you had that match in the very beginning. I feel like that specific match, you needed Daniel Garcia to win that match. To me, it made more sense for Daniel Garcia to win that match to help elevate him and put him in a better spot. Collision's going to have 2 women's matches. Megan Bayne got the win over Mina Shirakawa for the ladies. So you see what happens there. Obviously, the faces will win that second one, and then probably, I'm assuming, the heels will win that third one. John Moxley and Roderick Strong will be facing off for the third match for the men on Collision. So I don't like the multiple qualifying matches. I don't think it serves much purpose, and I feel like specifically in this case, Daniel Garcia needed to win that match. So that meant that you should have had Orange Cassidy win that first match. Anything else from AEW that really struck a chord with you?
No, it was good. It was decent. Other than like I said, the belts. I'm interested to see kind of how the Death Riders are moving forward. They're there. I don't know if John Moxley is turning his character a little bit. It's something to pay attention to. So I'm very curious to see how AEW moves forward with their storylines. It's very interesting. I think the women have been really telling some very intriguing type stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how AEW maneuvers forward and after Blood and Guts as they try to get through the remainder of the year. And like I said, I just want to keep seeing, how the company tries to, involve so many people and so many, I did think it was cool that they did surprise people by not having Mercedes, because I just thought, Mercedes Moné is going to win the tag tournament and she's going to, and then they lost right away. So that was cool. That was something that was not needed. She doesn't need anymore.
That was very interesting.
Yes.
I was happy by that. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. You're going to help build some new stars. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So AEW, like I said, they're doing their thing. It's just not to the point where we feel like they're thriving on all cylinders, but Tony Khan's trying to do the best he can with everything. But the show in and of itself, it just, like I said, we just feel like, hey, okay, here's what we're doing today, and we have a bunch of matches, and we're going to keep it moving, and that's fine. I'm curious to see how, like I said, I am very invested in Kyle Fletcher. The Don Callis family is always doing some crazy shit. The Hurt Syndicate is pushing things forward.
What are your thoughts on Mark Briscoe possibly joining the Don Callis family? He offered up his career for that title shot against Kyle Fletcher, and Don Callis was like, I don't want your career.
Right.
I'd much rather have you in my family.
Exactly.
And so that's now the stipulation.
Yeah, very interesting. I think it has a chance to be potential. I think Mark Briscoe is a guy that they've tried to show a lot of respect to, and it's very cool. So very, very, very much so, where, again, you have you have stars, you have a mid-card, but if it just feels like everybody needs to be ratcheted up like 5%, like just 5% better across the board with storytelling, compellingness, and it would do, I think, wonders for AEW, for everything going on with Hangman Page and their championships. I think the stars are big, but they could be bigger. The mid-card people need to kind of interact a little bit more with the stars and start to have some mid-carders kind of, like, if you ask me who are the next big people, it's Kyle Fletcher, it's Takeshita, it's, those people that are going to get up there. And you just feel like they just need to do a little bit more to get themselves a little bit over and make more news, make more headlines. And we'll see how it progresses in the second half of the year.
What was your show of the week this week?
I just thought it was SmackDown because Raw just was a little disjointed. So it's not by just true merit. It was like process of elimination. It was good, but I just think that Raw and Dynamite did nowhere near what SmackDown did. At least you got a tournament that's intriguing, and Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes has something that you could call compelling.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I thought SmackDown was the show of the week. You ready for some news and notes before we get out of here?
Hit me with this week's professional wrestling news and notes. What made your list?
A WWE superstar signs a multi-year extension. Early this year, it was reported by Fightful Select that inaugural WWE United States Women's Champion Chelsea Green had re-signed what was called a multi-year extension with the company. Green re-signed with the company while she still has a year left on her initial deal, which she signed prior to her return in 2023's Royal Rumble match. In an update on Green's contract from Fightful Select, the contract extension that Green signed was a 5-year deal with the company. That means she'll be with the company until 2029. That might have been why she had the belt put back on her. Big New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW star is sidelined with an injury. An injury suffered in AEW to a cross-promotional star has been confirmed via an official announcement from New Japan Pro Wrestling. One of the New Japan Pro Wrestling names who appears most regularly on AEW TV is Tomohiro Ishii, who at this point is an established member of the Conglomeration faction. New Japan has confirmed Ishii suffered a dislocated shoulder while working for AEW 2 weeks ago. New Japan writes on October 22nd at an AEW event in San Antonio, Texas, Ishii sustained a dislocated right shoulder. As a result, Ishii will miss action for the forthcoming event with his return to be determined. And now a lot going on with Ridge Holland. Last month, Ridge Holland, real name Luke Menzie, announced that WWE had informed him that his contract wouldn't be renewed and when it was due to expire on November 14th. Menzie had noted multiple times the significance of the timing of the decision, as he recently suffered a serious injury working on behalf of WWE for TNA and just underwent surgery that will keep him out of action for upwards of half a year. Speculation is about 7 months. Menzie has been very active on social media. I don't necessarily want to say complaining, but just really going hard about this situation. Menzie recently issued a social media statement noting that he had been completely fucked by the company and the decision. Fightful Select reported that Menzie's contract had been terminated about 10 days early by WWE as the company considered some of his recent posts about the company to be a comment of breach. The report noted that Menzie would have been paid until November 14th, but now that he's been terminated early, the belief is that he won't be paid for the days that would have been left on his contract. Last year, Holland took a pay cut of around $200,000 when he moved from the main roster to NXT, a move that he suggested himself. Menzie noted that WWE is taking care of his surgery and his physical therapy, but described that as the bare bones minimum. Now, Chelsea Green is donating $1,000 monthly to Ridge Holland and his family following the departure from WWE, as well as Omos, AEW star Nick Jackson, and TNT champion Kyle Fletcher have each donated $1,000. Also, former WWE champion Raj Dashi, also known as Jinder Mahal, during his time with the company, also donated $1,000 to Menzie's GoFundMe. Menzie's been very, very vocal, like I said, on social media. He's recently done an interview where he's talked about the Big E situation. He basically says that he wishes that never had happened. And because of that, that was why he asked to go back down to NXT, just so it wouldn't harm Pete Dunne, who he was in a program with as a tag team. So there's a lot going on here with Ridge Holland, a.k.a. Luke Menzie. If you're interested, I really implore you to go check it out. You could just type it into Google, and there'll be a ton of articles that come up. This is just kind of a quick, brief synopsis. But that's going to do it for this week's wrestling news and notes.
Make sure you follow Adam on X at AdamRSTROZ. Follow us at Detroit Podcast. We definitely are intrigued by professional wrestling. We feel like it's an interesting time in November. The end of the year usually produces some interesting storylines, and as WWE moves to Survivor Series and Blood and Guts is going to happen with AEW, it's going to be an interesting time for both companies. So make sure you also pay attention to TNA, New Japan, a lot of things going on in the world of professional wrestling outside as well. You can see a Killer Cross interview with Vince Russo. I guess he's developed a relationship. Cross and Scarlett really trust Vince Russo based on their correspondence. Vince has been talking to them even when they were in WWE, so it's interesting. And also Vince, I guess, Vince Russo is involved in something called Juggalo Wrestling. I guess it's been around for 20 years. It's crazy. It's like orange, and so it's crazy. Highlighted by one of the ICP members. So it has a local tie. It's on YouTube, but it seems like they've implored Vince Russo to come work with them, and they're getting Matt Cardona and Nick Nemeth. So they're doing their thing. It's a crazy new thing. So it's on YouTube. Check it out. You can get all the information from the Vince Russo and Jonathan Coachman podcast. But it's an interesting. Also, too, I reviewed and I really liked the Killer Cross recent documentary. It's really good. It's psychological in nature, but you can easily get it if you're a wrestling fan. Is it all a work, baby? Is it all a work? And he tells the story, and it's a really good documentary and a way to use your own story to keep yourself over and to keep yourself very relevant. If you listen to any audio podcast, make sure you type in Detroit Sports Podcast, like, subscribe, and definitely interact with the show. We definitely enjoy all the banter during pay-per-views and everything going on. If you've agreed or disagreed with anything, hit us up. Let us know. Let us know your thoughts on the world of professional wrestling. Are you in? Are you out? Are you an AEW slappy? Do you feel like you just watch? Or are you tied to WWE and Triple H and all the nonsense going on there? So it's interesting, too, because there is talk, and Adam and I will monitor it. There was talk about last week's SmackDown only getting 5,000 people. Maybe the price is starting to get to people. When you go and tour the same town twice a year, most people can't afford $400 tickets twice a year. That's just pretty crazy. So we'll see and monitor the attendance as people are starting to realize, wait a minute, if we keep paying these high prices, they're just going to keep raising it. So smart on the fans. Let's pay attention to it as maybe WWE is realizing we might have tapped out our market moving forward. So we'll see, and we'll monitor it here on the podcast. I can't wait to break it all down next week on the next episode of the Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast.